Angela had always been envious of her best friend Ruth. They had grown up together, but Ruth's life seemed to outshine Angela's at every turn. While Angela struggled with failed relationships and a stagnant career, Ruth appeared to have it all: a fulfilling job, a beautiful home, and a husband, Jude, who adored her. Angela's jealousy grew quietly, feeding on every small moment of Ruth's happiness. But Angela's envy was not the harmless kind. It wasn't the type to fade with time or be brushed aside. It simmered, dark and dangerous, until it finally pushed Angela to do the unthinkable. She decided that if she couldn't have happiness, neither should Ruth. One evening, after meeting Ruth for coffee, Angela began formulating her plan. She listened as Ruth spoke about how Jude was planning a surprise trip for their upcoming anniversary. Ruth's eyes sparkled as she spoke of her husband's thoughtfulness. Angela nodded and smiled, but inside she seethed. She was determined to destroy what she believed Ruth didn't deserve. Angela's plan required precision. She reached out to Lillian, a young woman she had met at a party months earlier. Lillian was in a tough spot financially, and Angela knew she could manipulate her. When Angela proposed her scheme, offering Lillian a large sum of money to pose as Ruth and create the illusion of infidelity, Lillian hesitated. "I don't know, Angela," Lillian said, fidgeting nervously. "This sounds wrong." Angela leaned forward, her voice dripping with persuasion. "It's just a little act. No one's getting hurt. Besides, you need the money, don't you? Think of it as helping me with a personal problem." Reluctantly, Lillian agreed. Angela reassured her that it would be quick and easy. On the day of the plan, Angela used a spare key Ruth had once entrusted to her to enter the couple's home. She instructed Lillian to undress and lie on the bed, positioning her backwards so her face wasn't visible. Angela even sprayed Ruth's favorite perfume in the room to make the setup more convincing. She sent Jude a text from Ruth's phone, which she had stolen earlier during one of their coffee dates. "Come home early," the message read. "I have a surprise for you." Jude, who had just landed from a business trip, smiled at his wife's thoughtfulness and headed home, excited. Angela wasn't done. She also ensured Ruth would arrive home at the perfect moment. She left an anonymous note at Ruth's office, claiming there was an emergency at home and she needed to rush back. Everything was falling into place. Jude arrived home first. The house was quiet, with only a dim light glowing from the bedroom. As he pushed open the door, he saw what he believed to be Ruth lying on the bed, waiting for him. "Ruth?" he called out softly, stepping closer. But something felt off. The room smelled overly fragrant, almost artificial. Jude hesitated, but his excitement clouded his judgment. He walked toward the bed, about to speak again, when the sound of the front door opening startled him. Ruth had rushed home, her heart pounding from the mysterious note she'd received. She stepped into the house and immediately sensed something was wrong. Her chest tightened as she heard faint movement coming from the bedroom. She pushed the door open and froze. There was Jude standing over a nude woman sprawled on their bed. Ruth's world seemed to shatter in that instant. "Jude!" she screamed, her voice shaking with fury and pain. What is this?" Jude spun around, his face a mixture of shock and confusion. "Ruth, I thought this was you," he stammered. "I don't know what's going on." Ruth's eyes burned with tears as she pointed at the woman on the bed. "Who is she? Is this your surprise for me?" Before Jude could respond, Lillian bolted upright, grabbing the blanket to cover herself. "I'm sorry," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Ruth stepped back, her hands trembling. "You didn't mean for this to happen? Then what are you doing in my bed?" she demanded. Jude was still processing the scene, his mind racing. "Ruth, listen to me," he pleaded. "I thought you sent me a text. I thought this was your idea. I swear I don't know her." Ruth's anger was palpable, but something about Jude's desperation made her pause. "Show me the text," she said. Jude handed her his phone, and Ruth read the message. Her brow furrowed. "I didn't send this," she said quietly. Lillian, still clutching the blanket, began sobbing uncontrollably. "It was Angela," she blurted out. "She planned everything. She paid me to do this. She said it would be harmless." Ruth felt like the ground beneath her had given way. "Angela," she whispered. "My best friend Angela?" Jude's face darkened. She's been trying to ruin us. Ruth and Jude wasted no time. They drove to Angela's apartment, anger and betrayal coursing through their veins. Angela opened the door, her confident smirk vanishing when she saw their expressions. "What's this about?" she asked, feigning innocence. "You know exactly what this is about," Ruth snapped. "How could you do this to me? To us?" Angela crossed her arms, her mask of composure slipping. "Maybe I was tired of watching you live your perfect little life while I've had nothing." Ruth stared at her, stunned. "You think this was about my life being perfect? I trusted you, Angela. I loved you like a sister." Angela's face crumbled, but Ruth didn't wait to hear more. She turned to leave, her heart heavy with betrayal. In the days that followed, Ruth and Jude focused on rebuilding their marriage. The experience had shaken them to their core, but it also brought them closer. They attended counseling sessions to work through the trust that had been fractured. "I'm sorry I didn't see through her sooner," Ruth admitted one evening. "It's not your fault," Jude reassured her. "We'll get through this together." As for Angela, her actions had consequences. News of her betrayal spread, and she found herself ostracized by their social circle. Lillian, too, faced judgment, but she made amends by apologizing to Ruth and Jude and seeking therapy to address her choices. Ruth and Jude's love proved stronger than Angela's scheme. They learned to cherish each other more deeply and protect their relationship from outside interference. And while the scars of betrayal would never fully fade, they served as a reminder of the resilience they had found in each other. Angela's plot to destroy her best friend's happiness ultimately failed. Instead of tearing Ruth and Jude apart, it brought them closer together. The experience taught them the importance of trust, communication, and standing united in the face of adversity. As for Angela, she was left to reflect on her actions and the loneliness her envy had created. In the end, the bitterness she harbored only destroyed her own life, while Ruth and Jude emerged stronger than ever, ready to face whatever challenges life might bring. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more heartfelt stories like this one.